Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics with your proof daily NFT countdown. A whole lot of big trades to talk about today. Excited to talk about that a little bit later, but we'll start with a quick market overview. Volume still in that 19,000 ETH range, up a bit from last week, so that's good to see. Large caps were up a bit, and that was because the Bored Ape ecosystem was very strong. We'll talk a bit more about that later. Cool Cats also strong. Gutter, Moonbirds both a little bit weak. Mid caps were all over the place. Some strength in Kanpai, Pandas, Captains, Forgotten Ruins, a little bit of weakness in some of the other collections. Overall, you had a flat performance for the index yesterday. In terms of art blocks, there was a big ringer sale, and then there was a new Presents project that minted, Eric Nation. Here's a little bit of the art. About 50 trades there, and the floor price is around 0.2 ETH right now. In terms of quick news bites, there are a few little news things I figured I'd just throw in here. First is that Kanpai Pandas announced that they were going to be partnering with John Jones, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. What you ended up seeing was pretty strong performance in Kanpai Pandas. Kanpai Pandas is really trying to move into a bit more of the in real life, entertainment, Vegas, fashion world. So interesting to see this partnership. And as you can tell, it's just been an incredibly hot set since the beginning of December. Jack Butcher, VV checks again. Something we're always talking about, but Jack Butcher changed the metadata to make the metadata look like a punk. And you can see the punk here. This is one of the first days where VV checks did not actually go out. Floor was just flat at 2.15 ETH, but after the huge rally they've had, that's still quite strong. Lucrece, who we've been talking about a lot, updated a little bit of info about his open edition burn mechanisms. Basically said, here's a guide to how many you're going to need for different types of things that you're going to want to do. And he put one of those things was 648 of the NFTs. Now, I think what he's doing here is just creating a world. We're seeing this with VV checks. With VV checks, you basically can't own too many checks when it comes to thinking about the burn mechanisms. So here, Lucrece is basically saying you can own up to 648 to get what will be the ultimate kind of top tier. So it just gives people reason to accumulate more and more. The market did seem to like this. You can see that the overall market cap rose a fair bit yesterday on the back of this, and we're back up to about a 4,000 ETH market cap for Lucrece's Proceed with Caution. Other story I want to talk about was that Yuga Labs issued an update. Basically, there was a short video, 30 seconds, where they said that Gary's looking more into the future and gave us a lot of these different screens for what is coming up. One of these weirder ones is Lick the Toad. Who knows what that means? But it is something that they've mentioned earlier, where they talked about Gary the dog prophet licking the toad. I don't know a lot about Bored Ape lore, but they do always keep it interesting, keep you guessing, keep you excited, and that's what these guys just do so well. The other thing that was interesting was they put these cards in for things that are coming up in the spring. Talk about one step in early March, one in April, and the one that begins in May. And I think that what they're doing here is basically setting the table here for a roadmap where there's always something to look forward to. There's always something we're not sure what's coming. The journey to Evo 2, who knows what that means. But it is something that's going to keep people guessing and keep people engaged, keeping, ideally making people not want to sell their NFTs. Keeping anticipation high is something these guys do so well, and it just gives people reason to hold. The market did like this announcement. The Bored Ape, you can't really see it in this chart, but at the very end, the Bored Ape floor was up a fair bit. I think it went from about 72 to 78 yesterday on OpenSea. And if you look at the US dollar value of the full set of Bored Apes, and what I mean by that is the ape, the mutant, the dog, the ape coin, the lamp ape, the sewer passes, everything that's been given for free to someone who owned a Bored Ape on day one. If you look at the US dollar market cap of that entire collection, it's basically doubled since the middle of November. Over the past 2.5 months, this has doubled. So really just kind of up-only action in the ecosystem since they started teasing the idea of Jimmy the Monkey trial and everything that's come after that. Story number 4, Bitcoin Ordinals hit 10,000 and the Ordinal Punk sold for 1.93 Bitcoin. The Ordinals have basically been what people have been putting on the Bitcoin blockchain, which have been basically their version of NFTs. There's kind of been a race to get number 10,000. The person who did number 10,000 simply uploaded the number 69, count on degens to do degenerate things. There was also a pretty big sale for an Ordinal Punk. The Ordinal Punks have been rising in price, and one sold yesterday for 1.93 Bitcoin, which is 29.7 ETH. I did a little bit digging into the Ordinal punks, and they're actually pretty cool. I mean, they look different. They're totally different traits than what we're used to from punks, but they're all kind of on that overlay of the punk art. You can see some of these crowns and the jester hat and laser eyes, which is pulled from Bored Apes. The other thing to know is that there are only 100 of them. So it's a really limited supply collection that was created, this Ordinal punk collection. This year, I just circled the one that sold yesterday for 1.93 Bitcoin. A couple things about Ordinal punks and Ordinal NFTs is one, that they're quite expensive to create and get on the blockchain. And that's why supply is so low, why you're seeing just these 100 NFT collections. The second is that it requires running a full node in order to transfer one from one wallet to another to buy one. So people are using escrow services, basically sending the money to the founder of the project, who then gets the Ordinal and doing deals that way. So very kind of centralized, very different from what we're used to. The third is that improvements are expected. I'm sure that the team building this will not, be happy until there is a decentralized solution that makes it a lot easier to move these around. But interesting to see how this goes. It's a little bit lofty. It seems a little bit square peg round hole, but you're still seeing a lot of interest in there. Obviously, Bitcoin has a ton of provenance, and something like Ordinal punks so early on is something people are interested in. There are things like Ordinals bots, where you can basically drop a picture on, say, the Bitcoin address and upload one yourself to create an Ordinal. So kind of interesting things happening in the ecosystem, something we'll definitely keep paying attention to. And then lastly, 5 notable sales and trades. The first is that Kevin Rose sold his zombie punk for 857 ETH. In terms of where zombie punks have sold, a very similar zombie punk that I would actually say is probably lower value because it doesn't have that smile, that earring that Kevin's had, sold for 1,160 ETH about a month ago. Another one sold for 980 ETH a few months ago. And if you go back about 7 months, you can get to one below the price that Kevin sold his for at 825. So I think this was a pretty low sale. Kevin clearly wanted to move it, was lowering the price, and that's how we landed where we did. Another huge sale, just massive. This gold fur ape with the rainbow grill, Jimmy.eth, sold it for 800 ETH just this morning. If you look at other top Bored Ape sales that we've had, based on the ones that have happened on exchanges, this was the third highest sale that we basically had. You have one at 1,080 ETH, and then you've had others kind of in the 800 to 900 ETH range. There were a lot more off exchange, but on exchange, this was a really high one. I found this trade, the third trade to talk about here, really interesting. It was between Pranksy and Jay Fowles, where Jay Fowles gets traded to Pranksy a Skelly Doodle. And in return, he got 4 Terraforms, a Doodle, and 60 ETH. Now, the thing to know about those Terraforms is that they were all Origin Daydream traits. You can see the Origin Daydream floor is 17 ETH here, and the volume's been happening at the 10 to 15 ETH range. So if you put it all together, it's 60 ETH plus these kind of 10 ETH Terraforms and a floor Doodle. So pretty punchy trade, pretty interesting to see. Congrats to both sides there. And now the biggest art block sale that we had yesterday was a Ringers, which sold for 70 ETH. This was also sold by Kevin Rose, and it was the curated collection that bought it. Curated is a fund that is just buying Grail art blocks, Grail 1-of-1s, kind of all the top NFTs. This one traded at a decent premium to floor. You can see the red line here is where this happened, and the yellow line is where the floor historically is. I mean, in one, it's a very simple ringer, really kind of pleasing in that sense. And two, it has that beige background, which sometimes trades at a premium. I also want to talk about the biggest super rare sale of the day, which was this piece by AlienQueenNFT, which sold for about 17 ETH. Now, Alien Queen is an artist who did tabs. She's part of Rec Guy. You can see here her thanking the buyer, who is Rinko for you. And if you look at her prior highest sales, this was actually the top sale she's ever had. She's had sales for 10 ETH, sales for 16.9 ETH. This one obviously slightly above 17. So congratulations to her. Always exciting to see an all-time high in super rare. That's that. Thank you so much for listening in. And I'm curious what you think of the format we're doing of the show. I've kind of been doing this market overview at the beginning, a few stories in the middle, and then top sales at the end. Would love to hear what you think about that format, if that works for you, any tips you have. If you like the video, like it, feel free to subscribe to our channel. We'll be back tomorrow and every weekday with a new daily countdown. Have a good day.